Okay, so you know you've sent us a ton of material all about managing your money after you get paid. And, well, honestly, it's something we all think about, right? It can get kind of overwhelming, though. So what we want to do today is cut through all the noise and boil it down to the most important steps you can take to be better off financially.
Yeah, exactly. Think of this as like your own personal guide to really making the most of your hard-earned cash.
Yeah, we're going to be walking you through, how to set up a solid financial foundation and why having an emergency fund is absolutely crucial, not just a good idea, but essential.
Hmm.
We'll also be talking about smart ways to deal with debt. The incredible potential of investing early on, something that's often overlooked, the value of your time in this whole financial picture,
Right.
and how you can make things so much easier by automating your finances.
Exactly. Making your money work for you.
And you know what makes this even more important is that a lot of people are actually struggling financially, as we saw in some of the stuff you sent.
Yeah, it's a pretty widespread issue.
This isn't about some, abstract financial jargon. This is about giving you clear and practical ways to move forward, all based on what you've given us.
A personalized roadmap.
So let's dive right in. One of the first things your sources emphasize is setting up a financial baseline. What does that even mean in practical terms?
Well, it all starts with figuring out your core monthly expenses, like the absolute essentials.
Like what kinds of things?
Things like housing, food, transportation, your basic utilities, basically figuring out, the bare minimum you need to survive each month.
So it's like calculating your financial survival number.
Exactly. And what's really interesting is that once you have a handle on this number, it becomes like the anchor for all your other financial decisions.
I see.
It helps you create a budget that actually works, and it shows you where you might be overspending without even realizing it.
Right. Because one of the articles you sent said that if you don't even know how much it costs you to live each month, how can you possibly make a budget or figure out where your money's going? It's like trying to plan a road trip without knowing where you're starting from.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah, it sounds so basic, but I think a lot of people skip this step.
Yeah, and your sources are right on the money here. Understanding this basic financial need, this survival number, is the first crucial step to making a realistic budget and avoiding that feeling of your paycheck just vanishing into thin air.
Yeah, because you're like, where did it all go?
Exactly. And, you mentioned wanting to learn quickly but thoroughly well this baseline figure. This is like the foundation of that understanding.
Okay, step one, know your essential monthly expenses check. But then what happens when something unexpected comes up? And that's where an emergency fund comes in. And your material really focuses on this a lot.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And for good reason.
Yeah.
The sources you gave us, they all agree that you need to have at least 6 months worth of essential living expenses saved up in an emergency fund.
6 months, that sounds like a lot, especially when you're just trying to make ends meet.
It can seem daunting, but, when you think about it, many Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and tons of people would be in real trouble if they had to cover a surprise $400 expense.
Oh, yeah, I remember seeing that statistic somewhere.
Right, so that 6-month buffer, it's like a safety net, a financial cushion.
Like a shock absorber.
Exactly. It's there to protect you from going into debt when something unexpected happens, like losing your job or having a medical emergency.
Right, and I actually saw one of your notes questioning whether 6 months was always realistic or necessary. So is that like a hard and fast rule?
That's a really good point you raised, and you're right. It's not set in stone. Individual circumstances definitely matter, and your note brought that up, which is great.
Yeah.
The main idea is to have enough saved up so you don't have to rely on high-interest debt when things go sideways.
Yeah, makes sense. So it's more about having that cushion than a specific number. Okay, so we've got our baseline and we're building our emergency fund, but let's face it, a lot of us are also dealing with debt. Your sources have some strategies for tackling that.
Right. That's a big one. And your materials actually introduce 2 popular methods, the debt avalanche and the debt snowball. And, these aren't just about math. They also tap into the psychology of paying off debt.
Interesting, how so?
Well, with the debt avalanche, you focus on paying off the debts with the highest interest rates first.
Okay.
The idea is that by getting rid of the most expensive debt first, you end up paying less interest overall. One of your articles had a great example showing just how much you can save.
So it's all about maximizing those interest savings. Got it. Now, what about the debt snowball?
The snowball method, well, it's all about motivation. You tackle the smallest debts first, regardless of the interest rate.
Interesting.
Yeah, the idea is that seeing those smaller debts disappear quickly gives you a psychological boost, keeps you motivated to keep going.
So it's about building momentum through those small wins. I like that.
It's like checking things off your to-do list.
Exactly. And one of your notes actually asks a really good question. Which approach will keep you more engaged in the long run? Because that's what really matters, right?
Absolutely. Sticking with it is key.
Yeah. So it's not a one-size-fits-all thing. You have to figure out what works best for you.
Exactly. And that's a great point. From your notes, understanding yourself and what motivates you is so important when it comes to personal finance.
Okay, let's move on to something that might feel a bit far off when you're just managing your latest paycheck, but it's so crucial for long-term financial security investing. Your sources are big advocates for starting early.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Huge advocates for starting early.
Yeah.
And there's a good reason for that. One of your highlights specifically mentioned the amazing power of compound interest to build wealth over time.
Compound interest, what is that exactly? I always hear people talking about it, but I'm not sure I fully get it.
Okay, so imagine you invest, let's say $100, and in a year it grows by 7%.
Hmm.
So now you have $107.
Okay.
But the next year, that 7% growth is calculated not just on the original $100, but on that $107. So you earned a little bit more. And over decades, those seemingly small differences, they add up to serious money. That's the magic of compounding at work.
Oh, wow. I get it now. It's like your money is earning money on itself.
Exactly. It's money-making babies.
And the earlier you start, the more babies you have.
Exactly. And one of your sources even had some projections showing how much more you could end up with by starting in your 20s compared to waiting until your 40s, even if you invest the same amount. It's pretty eye-opening.
So start early. Got it. Now, your sources also talk about different investment accounts like 401ks and Roth IRAs. What are the main differences there?
Well, they're both great for long-term savings, and they often come with some nice tax advantages. Now, a 401k is usually offered through your employer,
Okay.
and a lot of employers will actually match a portion of your contributions. It's like free money.
Oh, wow. I did see that mentioned in one of the articles.
Yeah, it's a fantastic perk. So your key insights were spot on. Prioritizing 401k contributions, especially up to the employer match, is a really smart move.
It's like getting a guaranteed return right off the bat.
Exactly. And with a traditional 401k, you're usually contributing pre-tax money, so it actually lowers your taxable income right now.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so employer match equals free money check.
Yeah.
Now, what about a Roth IRA? How's that different?
So a Roth IRA is an individual retirement account, and you contribute money that you've already paid taxes on.
Okay.
But the big plus is that when you retire and start taking money out,
Yeah.
you don't have to pay taxes on those withdrawals or the earnings.
Oh, that's a huge benefit.
It is, especially if you think you'll be in a higher tax bracket when you retire.
Yeah.
Your sources did a good job of laying out the pros and cons of each option.
Yeah, they did.
And ultimately, the best choice depends on your own financial situation and your tax outlook.
Okay, but investing in the stock market can be kind of scary, right? It feels risky, especially for someone new to all this.
Totally understandable. It can seem intimidating. But your sources mentioned a strategy called dollar cost averaging that can help with that.
Dollar cost averaging? What's that?
So basically, instead of trying to time the market and figure out the best moment to invest, which is really hard even for professionals,
Yeah, I wouldn't even know where to begin.
with dollar cost averaging, you invest a set amount of money at regular intervals no matter what the market's doing.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And what's cool about this is that you naturally end up buying more shares when prices are low and fewer shares when prices are high. So it evens out your average cost.
So it's like a built-in way to manage the ups and downs.
Exactly. It takes some of the emotion and guesswork out of investing.
Mm-hmm.
And your key insights highlight that this method helps you build up your shares over time at a good average price. So market swings become less of a worry.
Makes sense. Okay, shifting gears a little bit, your materials also talk about the value of our time and something called opportunity cost, which seems kind of unconnected to managing a paycheck, but I guess it ties in somehow.
It totally does. Opportunity cost is basically what you give up when you choose to do one thing instead of another.
Okay, I think I'm starting to see the connection here.
Right. So when you think about your overall financial picture, it's about asking yourself if your time could be better spent on things that earn you more money or add more value to your life, instead of getting stuck doing things that could be outsourced or automated more cheaply.
Like what kinds of things are we talking about?
Well, think about someone who spends hours every weekend doing chores they hate.
Mhm.
If they could pay someone else to do those chores for less than they earn per hour at their job, then financially speaking, their time might be better spent working extra hours or focusing on things that could lead to a promotion or a raise.
So it's not just about saving money directly, it's also about using your time strategically to maximize your financial well-being.
Exactly. And your summary actually suggested delegating those less valuable tasks so you can free up time for things that give you a better return, whether it's financial or personal.
Right. It's like that saying, work smarter, not harder.
Absolutely. And one of your reflections asked a really interesting question. Are there areas in your life where the opportunity cost of your time might be higher than you realize? Thinking about that can help you make more conscious choices about how you spend your time and energy, which ultimately impacts your finances.
That's a really good point. Okay, we've covered a lot from setting up a financial foundation to valuing our time.
Mhm.
Now, how do we actually make sure all this good intention turns into consistent action? Your sources emphasize automating your finances.
Oh yeah, automation is key. It helps you stay consistent, and it fights something called decision fatigue. Yeah, you've only got so much willpower.
Yeah, I know all about decision fatigue.
Right. So by setting up automatic bill payments, automatic transfers to your savings and emergency fund, and automating your investments, you take the guesswork out of it.
It's like putting your finances on autopilot.
Exactly. And your summary and highlights both stress how important this is.
Yeah, they do.
So think about your monthly bills, rent, or mortgage utilities,
Yeah.
loan payments. You can set those up to be paid automatically so you never miss a payment and you avoid late fees.
Good point. I hate late fees.
Right. And then schedule those automatic transfers from your checking account to your savings emergency fund and investment accounts every time you get paid that way.
Yeah,
And it's happening consistently, even if you're busy or forget.
that's a really good idea. I mean, sometimes life gets in the way.
It does.
Yeah.
And even small regular contributions, they can really add up over time. That's what your sources show us.
So it's about consistency.
Exactly. And this is a really practical step that can make managing your finances so much easier.
Makes sense. Okay, so last but not least, your summary talks about checking in on your overall financial health and recognizing the good signs that you're on the right track.
Yeah, it's like taking stock of where you are and giving yourself a little pat on the back.
Exactly. So what are some of those signs that we're moving in the right direction?
Well, ask yourself, can you consistently cover those essential monthly expenses without stressing out?
That's a big one.
Is your emergency fund growing steadily? Are you making progress, paying down your debt? Are you regularly putting money into your investment accounts?
Those are all good signs.
They're all signs that you're building a strong financial foundation and you're on the path to greater security. Recognizing those positive changes can be really encouraging, and it keeps you motivated to stay on track.
So to recap the key takeaways from everything you shared, start by understanding your core monthly expenses, the things you absolutely need to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Then make it a priority to build an emergency fund that's big enough for your specific situation and, figure out the best debt repayment method for you, whether it's the Avalanche or the Snowball.
Right.
And don't forget about the amazing power of starting to invest early, even if it's a small amount. Compound interest is your friend.
Your best friend.
And you can use dollar cost averaging to make investing less scary. And don't forget about that 401k match if your employer offers it free money.
Free money is good money.
Oh, yeah. And remember that your time is valuable. So think about the opportunity cost of how you spend it and automate, 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 make your money work for you without you having to think about it too much.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And all of this is based on the information you gave us, so it's tailored to your needs and your goals.
A custom-made guide.
Exactly. And as we wrap up here, think about this. What's one small step, even a tiny one, that you can take today based on everything we've discussed? Because even a small change can start a ripple effect towards a healthier and more secure financial future.
One step at a time.
Absolutely. And understanding these basic principles isn't just about learning, it's about giving you the power to take control and build that future you want. Thanks for diving in with us.
Always a pleasure.
And until next time, keep those questions coming.
We'll keep diving in.
See you then.